Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you are good. So today we are going to discuss ServiceNow integration interview question set 2. So I have already posted set 1. So if you haven't watched, you can watch that video. So we are going to start with our this question. What is ServiceNow REST API Explorer? So ServiceNow REST API Explorer is an application to construct and test APIs requests to a ServiceNow instance. The REST API Explorer is available to users with REST API Explorer role or the admin role. So REST API Explorer, where we can go and construct the APIs. Okay. So mainly APIs is used in integration, right? In ServiceNow, we create API, and if we have to integrate ServiceNow with third-party tool, we need ServiceNow APIs in third-party tool. And in the same way, we need third parties APIs in ServiceNow. So where can we construct the API? So we can construct the API in REST API Explorer, and we can use REST scripted API as well. So in this video, I'm going to more discuss about REST API integration, and in next video, we'll try to discuss about SOAP API integration. Okay. So what is prerequisite for any integration? And we are discuss some common question also regarding integration. So what is the prerequisite for any integration? So you should be having target system endpoint or API. Okay. So like if you are doing integration with HP, so you need target endpoint of HP tool. Okay. And credential based on authentication type. So if we are going to follow basic authentication, so you need username and password. If you are following oath, so you need client secret and secret ID. So based on the authentication, you need credentials of target system, and you need information of fields and table mapping details. So if you have to create incident, like if you are creating incident in source system, it has to go to target system as well. So you need all the table detail as well as field details to map that fields in target system. So these are the basic prerequisite for any integration, and it depends on use case. What use case you are considering for integration? According to that, you need all the prerequisite. So next question is, how can you trigger the REST call? Okay. So to trigger the REST call, you can write any of server-side scripting like business rule, script include, UI action or schedule job to trigger the REST API call. But in the script, you have to create instance of REST API class. So the syntax you can follow var object equals to new. Here E is missing. So this is new sn underscore ws dot rest message v2, and you can provide the rest message name which you have created, and you can provide the http method. If you want to only fetch the data, you can provide get which you had created in rest message, and if you have to create a data, you can provide post according to your requirement. Whatever you have created in http method, you can provide that. So in this way you can trigger the REST API call. So next question is, what is REST message? So RESTful web services make use of HTTP protocols as a medium of communication between client and server. Okay, a client sends a message in form of a HTTP request, and the server responds in a form of an HTTP response. This technique is termed as messaging. So you can send request to REST web service endpoint by creating a REST message record. So you are having a REST message, everything predefined as a REST message. You can make use of that, and you can send a request to a REST web service endpoint by creating a REST message record. Okay. And what is a scripted REST API? So you can use scripted REST API to create a customized API. So you can manipulate the data as per your requirement. So there's no limitation. You can use n number of table. you can glide a number of table and data can be manipulated. So you can define service endpoints, query parameter and headers for a scripted REST API as well as a script to manage the request and response. So you are having, you can create API with a lot of customization, and you have freedom to glide a number of table. You can manipulate the data as per your requirement by using scripted REST API. So now we'll try to understand what are best practices for scripted REST API. So first, follow REST API convention. Use REST API standards to provide a consistent and easy to use interface for clients. So you should always follow the REST API standards to provide a consistent and easy interface. Use versioning to control changes to your API. So whenever you are doing any change to the API, create a new version of API when you introduce significant functionality changes to your API. Okay. Return an informative HTTP status code. Return a status code that informs requester or a status code that informs requester of the success or failure of the request. Return useful error information. So by seeing the error information, you could understand what is the error happened. Enforce and test access controls. So you have to test the ACL as well. Like sometimes what happen, you are done with the integration, but data is not falling. Data is not passing from or not coming to the source system. So what happens, ACL is stopping data, transfer. So you have to test for the ACL whether all the ACL is fine. Build testers to verify functionality. So you can build some of the test cases to verify the functionality, like whatever you have created, it is working as expected. So next question is, what is OAuth? So it is kind of authentication, right? So OAuth is an open standard for token-based authentication. It allows user to access instance resources by obtaining token rather than entering login credential with its resource request. How can you set up OAuth authentication? Okay, so for that what you have to do is you can navigate to system OAuth, click on new under application registry, create OAuth API endpoint for external clients and fill the form. And what you can do is you can create an user in user table, and users should be active. User can't be locked out. Okay, so the instance can produce an access token for OAuth whenever is required. Okay, anyways, I have planned to make some videos on integration, so I am going to explain this OAuth authentication setup as well. So yeah, let's navigate to next slide. So how to print error message. So you have to initiate a new error object. So this is the syntax var. You can define the object new sn underscore ws underscore err dot service error. So this is the, you have to initiate a new error object. So it is already defined in our REST API. So you have to create an object of that class, and by referring the object you can able to print error message. Okay, so you can follow this syntax. So now we are going to discuss about list of predefined errors. So in HTTP we are having some list of predefined errors that is called HTTP status code. So let's try to understand. So for status code 400, okay, so error object is bad request error. That indicates an error in the request such as incorrect syntax. So whenever you have any incorrect syntax, so it will return as 400. That means bad request error. Okay, so you have any incorrect syntax. So by referring that, you would be able to understand and you can correct it. Not found error indicates a requested resource is not available. That is indicated by 404 status code. Next is not acceptable error. It indicates the accept header value passed in the request is incompatible with the web service. That is indicated by status code 406. Conflict error. It indicates that there is a conflict in the request, such as multiple conflicting updates. That is indicated by 409 status code. Unsupported media type error indicates the request media type is not supported by the web service, and that is indicated by 415 status code. So these are the quite used predefined errors. So we can print our error and we can able to find like what status code we are getting. Based on that you can make changes in your script. So now let's talk about some of the most important HTTP status code. So if we are getting 200, that means request was completed successfully. Okay. So whenever we send a request, so we get a response. So we can get a status code. So whenever we are getting 200, we can ensure that our request was completed successfully. 201 record was created successfully. 204 record was deleted. 401 and 404 is for error. So 401 is for syntax error and 404 is client error. And let's talk about 500 and 503. So it is server related error. So whenever any server related error occurred, it will be identified as 500 and 503. So guys, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.